So here we go. This is down and dirty, nitty gritty, completely vulnerable. So we have talked before about how I am in some serious financial difficulties right now. It's getting better, but let's talk about this in multiple parts. The first part is, how did I even get into the situation? So a little background. So Dawn, my wife, and I moved from St. Louis to Duluth, Minnesota, which is in northern Minnesota, in 2016. I am and was a physician and was able to find another job in Duluth. Dawn had worked in healthcare for about 32 years, and she was ready to find her second life, her second being. And so we moved to a very reasonable house in Duluth, and it was awesome. My salary more than covered the house, and we were able to build a barn. We originally started with sled dogs, and so the sled dogs were Dawn's life. The sled dogs unfortunately did not work out for us, and we ended up just fostering them and putting them to nice pet homes. But we built a barn and everything was going well. After the sled dogs didn't work out, Dawn and I went and visited an alpaca farm in 2018. And that's where Eagle Eye Farm really started, in 2018. So I think you probably have all heard the story, but let me just say it again. We started off with one alpaca that we met, Mateo, whenever he was 4 days old. We fell in love with him and actually purchased him pretty much immediately. And that started our alpaca journey. We always joke that alpacas are kind of like potato chips. You can't have just one, but we really took it to the extreme. So we went from one, we went to another farm in Minnesota to find a companion for Mateo. And what ended up happening is we ended up buying 6 alpacas from them. And that's fantastic. But then we had to modify our property in Duluth. And so we did that. We started making payments on those 6 alpacas because the amount of money that we needed to invest in the property that we had in Duluth was significant. And so that was in the fall of 2018. And by the time that it was the June of 2019, we had 20 animals. So these animals all ranged in price from $1,500 to $20,000. And so we had 20 alpacas. We were making monthly payments on all of them and able to keep up with the payments, no problem. But then we decided we wanted to move. So we moved to our current location. It was a really, really good decision to move. Probably one of the best decisions that we made in terms of our business. However, it was expensive. So the property that we bought here in River Falls was a abandoned 2-horse property. And so before we could move down, we had to do tons of modification to the property itself to make it accessible to the alpacas, as well as the pigs and the chickens that we already had at that time. And so we spent a ton of money for the down payment, because we still had our house in Duluth. For the down payment, my parents helped. I took out a loan from my 401k, and then we had to take out a second mortgage almost immediately to pay for all of the modifications to the property. And so a ton of money was spent on this property that we didn't have the cash for immediately. So we were still going along. We were still able to make our monthly payments, no problem. But then COVID hit and my salary went down by 85%. We were in trouble. We were in some pretty significant trouble. But my parents helped to bail me out and bail us out. And so we took a loan from them. And by the fall of 2020, we were still in very serious financial difficulties, but a little bit less because of my parents. And we started doing tours here. But we were charging $10, I believe, at the time, only allowing 10 people per tour. It wasn't enough to even pay for one person's salary. And at that time, I believe that we already had 3 people on staff. So that didn't pay for the feed. It didn't pay for the electricity. Certainly didn't help to pay for the mortgage. Didn't pay for the staff that we had. And things just kind of snowballed from there. All right, so this is long enough. We'll continue part 2.